I genuinely feel like the key to surviving depression and anxiety and just like overcoming those hurdles of life is to be grateful and to have gratitude. And I've heard this recently that there's a big difference between being grateful and having gratitude. Being grateful is something that is like present tense, past tense, it's there for a fleeting moment. Whereas having gratitude is something that you possess and you embody, and it's something that moves through you in your everyday interactions and perspectives and thought patterns and all of that good stuff. I've been in some pretty hard, challenging points of my life where it was really difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it was really difficult to commit to working towards a better, brighter future. However, the one thing that always kept me in line and in focus was reminding myself that it could always be worse. It could always be worse. If you think you have it bad, someone has it worse. And I know people say we shouldn't be comparing struggles, comparison kills character, all that stuff. But at the same time, maybe we should be comparing. If you think that, like, I don't know, your life is such a struggle and it's such a drag, like, and you're just caught up in this negative thought pattern all day, every day, to the point where you're constantly in this victim mentality. It's constantly poor me, poor me, poor me. It's everyone else around me that has a problem. I'm always the victim. I'm always the problem for no reason. Like, you need to get out of your head. And if comparison to someone else's struggle helps you get out of your head and helps you get out of that negative thought pattern, then go compare away, baby. Think of someone else's situation that's far worse to generate that gratitude for yourself in your own situation and the fact that you don't have it as bad as other people. Because that comparison, that insight, at least for me, really helped me motivate and stay on track with working. Like, okay, yeah, I'm working full-time midnights and I'm going to school full-time, but at least I get to go to school. At least I get to work. At least I get to put in the grind towards something that I really want to do, towards furthering my education and building a career and a life that I've always dreamt of. Because there's people in other countries that don't have that option. There's people in other countries that don't have government funding. If you're not rich, you're not going to school, baby. And women that are like indentured to slavery and servitude and just like being a housekeeper, and they don't have the option to work a job, even if it is midnights at Superstore, they don't have that option. And so, while yes, it's definitely really important to feel your feelings and allow yourself to be in a rut and allow yourself to be sad and be frustrated, like, sit in that, feel through it, but don't ruminate in it. Don't let it loom over you like a cloud that follows you throughout your every single day, day-to-day activities, because at the end of the day, that's not going to help you in the long run. That's thinking, oh, woe is me, poor me, I'm such a victim, I have it so hard. That's not going to help you in any regard for moving forward and working on yourself and bettering your life and just like doing the things that you need to do to become the person that you want to become. However, reminding yourself that I actually have it really fucking good. Yeah, I may be struggling. Yeah, this may be a challenge. Yeah, this may be hard. But I'm blessed at the end of the day. Like, I can see, I can taste, I can hear, I can experience this life. I have friends that love me and I get to love. I have family that's there for me and supports me and loves me. And while yes, there's always downsides to everything. Well, yes, everything isn't always going to be perfect. That's kind of at the same time the beauty of it. You have to find, and I know this has been overdone so many times, but you have to find the beauty in the struggle. Like, it's not in the destination, it's in the journey, baby. And I think when you realize that, and maybe times when you experience that it's not in the destination, it kind of hammers in this idea of like, no, I need to enjoy the process. I need to enjoy the journey, because if you hate yourself and you hate your life and like the journey is so strenuous and unenjoyable, and then you finally get to the destination and you have the thing, sure, you might experience the gratitude and the excitement and the pride and the fulfillment for a few seconds, a few days, a few weeks, that feeling is fleeting, because then you have the thing and okay, what else do you have? What about your relationships? What about your friendships? What about your family? What about your relationship and viewpoint of yourself? What about your values? Have you been living and acting in accordance with your values and who you want to be and the people you want to surround yourself with? So what if you have the nice car or the nice house? If you don't have anyone around you that you love or appreciate and you feel grateful for, what do you even have? What is this life even worth living for? If it's not, relationships and family and friends and self-fulfillment and joy and contentment. And you might think that achieving that material thing will be the end all be all, and it'll be the quick fix that you need, and it's going to make you feel so fulfilled and so joyous and so content and so proud beyond all means. You got it wrong. You got it wrong. And if you don't know this now, maybe you'll figure it out when you get the thing that you're really working towards and really striving towards, and you realize that that's not the end all and be all. Think there's lots of millionaires, billionaires that are obese, overweight, unhappy, rude, their kids have disowned them, their wives hate them, they have no genuine friends. And do you really think that's a life worth living? They might have brainwashed themselves into thinking that it is, or they might be psychopaths. And that's why they're so okay with living this life that they're living. But to the regular person, to the average person, that's not something worth striving towards. The material things are not something that are going to give you anything that's worth having, anything that's going to last, anything that's going to truly fulfill you and make you happy for having this life and living this life. Because don't get me wrong, money is great and traveling is great and security and abundance is so amazing. But abundance doesn't start and stop with money and with material goods and tangible resources. Abundance means lots of things that are intangible, like joy and happiness and peace and security and fulfillment and connection, human connection, non-human connection, to, plants and animals, love, kindness. Those are the things that fill our cups, and those are the things that most people don't put all their time and energy towards achieving. For most people, it's career fulfillment, it's job, it's education, it's, the pay raise, it's the better title at work. And I don't know, when you connect those things to your identity and who you are and what your end goal is in this life, I think things can get really messy really easily. And it's really easy to lose sight of what's most important in this life, which I think is gratitude. Gratitude and compassion together, they are, I promise you, a cure-all fix for whatever you're struggling with in this life. Compassion, I think you have to start with compassion, and you have to start with having empathy for yourself and giving yourself grace and having a little bit of mercy for yourself and understanding that this is your first time living. This is your first time, at least consciously in a human body experiencing this life. And while yes, you might have wisdom from past lives, a lot of that entire memory of past lives is cut off when you come into this new life. And so you're figuring it all out from scratch and all from the beginning. And you have to give yourself mercy for that. And you have to understand that you're not going to get it right the first time. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be hurdles. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be hard work. But at the same time, this life is so fucking cool. It's so fucking cool. It's so amazing that we're not a dog or a cat or a plant or a bird, or in some other extraterrestrial environment. You're here on Earth, living an amazing life. I don't care how hard, how tough, how strenuous it is. The fact that you get to be here and you get to eat delicious food and you get to laugh with friends and you get to go and see beautiful sights and watch the sunset and watch the sunrise and soak in the sun at the beach and go swimming at the beach and feel the sand on your toes and do so many amazing things. Like, the list is endless. And I think when you discover that list, when you discover what you find the most value in, I think that's when everything changes, because that's when you become aware of what matters the most to you and how you want to structure and design your life. And when you do that in accordance with your values, the fulfillment and the joy that you feel is just so insurmountable in everything that you do, from eating breakfast to exercising, going on a walk, watching the sunset, hanging out with friends. When you know all of those activities are filling your cup and they're in alignment with who you want to be, your highest potential, your highest, truest, most authentic self, there's nothing more in this life that you could ever want or desire. And if you're in a situation where it's not really conducive to structuring your life so strictly around your values, at least maybe focus on discovering what they are. Because I think that's the biggest first step that a lot of people miss in life. And then they're 40 and they feel unfulfilled and they're having this midlife crisis and they don't know who they are. I think we can avoid that by understanding who we are earlier in life and getting a sense of those values earlier in life and implementing as many values as possible into our daily life. If you're in an abusive relationship or you're in a very unstable home life, or you're really depressed or really anxious and it's really hard to see value in the day-to-day, that's okay. And I think that's where the compassion comes in, that like, it's okay. There's some stuff you don't have control over. There's some stuff that's going to be harder to overcome than others. There's some stuff that's going to take a longer time to overcome and to change. Like, if you're in high school, you know, there's kind of a set timeline for finishing high school. And if you have to live with this family that's really unstable, really dysregulated, sometimes that's the luck of the draw. But at the same time, you can express gratitude for the fact that you are cognizant and competent enough to watch this video and to decipher what your values are and, you know, do quizzes online. We have access to the internet. Oh my God, people, 30 years ago didn't have access to the internet. Is that right? I don't know. I'm not good at history. So take stock of all those things that are really amazing and make you feel really grateful for this life. Take stock of those things and keep stock of them. And every single time you come across them in your life, be like, oh, yes, I'm so grateful for this thing. I have so much gratitude for this sunlight. I have so much gratitude for this friend that makes me feel seen and heard and loved and understood. I have so much gratitude for this cute little puppy. I have so much gratitude for getting up out of bed every day. I have so much gratitude for this paycheck. I have so much gratitude for the opportunity to go to school and further my education and learn about things and work my brain and develop my brain. There's so many things. You just have to be willing to look for them. And at the beginning, when you're not accustomed to living in accordance with your values or looking for things to express gratitude for in your day-to-day life, it can be really fucking hard. Really, really, really hard. But have compassion for yourself throughout this entire process. Understand that you're starting from ground zero. You're just learning about this. You're just discovering that values are really important and gratitude is really important and compassion is really important. So remind yourself of that. Stay focused and centered in that awareness and that open perspective. And be sure to implement that in your thought patterns and the way in which you move throughout life. Be willing to catch yourself and stop yourself and remind yourself that it's not that deep. Hey, I'm learning. This is my first time living. It's okay. I made a mistake. So what? I'm an imperfect human. I'm just operating by design. This is how we live and this is how we learn. And so keep that awareness, but also continue to work towards implementing your values into your day-to-day life and expressing constant gratitude for the things in your life that do align with those values. And so, as an example, if a value of yours is spending quality time with people that make you feel seen, heard, loved, appreciated, look for that in your day-to-day life. You might be depressed, you might be anxious, but if you have one friend, just one friend that makes you feel seen and heard and loved and appreciated and worthy of spending time with, when you hang out with that friend, just express a little gratitude to yourself, to the universe, your God, whoever, and just express that gratitude outwards of like, oh, yes, I am so grateful. I feel so much gratitude. I'm so appreciative of this friendship, this relationship, this opportunity to connect and feel seen and heard and loved. And that's it. That's it. That's all you have to do. And sit in that higher vibration, that good, warm, cozy, tingly feeling for as long as possible. Because I get the stressors of life pervade into our thinking habits, patterns, and it can be hard to stay at that like higher vibration of like, I'm so grateful, nothing can go wrong, world can do no harm, life is amazing. But try for as long as you can, because it's a muscle in your brain that the more you engage in it, the more you do it, the stronger that muscle gets and the easier it becomes to exercise that gratitude and implement it into your day-to-day, everyday life. Every thought, every word that you speak, every action that you do is done with gratitude and just like utter love and appreciation for yourself and the people around you and the opportunity to live and experience this life, this one life that you have. It's so incredible. And I definitely, like, if I was listening to this in high school, I would be like, oh, shut up. You've actually never struggled ever. Yet, I am the same person that was in high school, that was suicidal and hating my life and working 4 jobs full time while I was fast tracking courses, doing summer school, didn't feel like I belonged anywhere, hated my family, had very few friends that got me and understood me, and I just felt like everything was doomed. However, I somehow found my way out of that really, really dark, very long, twisty, turny tunnel. And now I'm here living this life that I've always dreamed of and telling you that it's possible. Like, I get that life is hard. I've been there. I'm still there in some aspects, struggling and being challenged, but I think the struggle is where you build character, and the challenge is where you become stronger and you develop empathy and you develop insight into the fact that everyone has it different. Everyone's struggles are different. But no struggle, no situation means you're destined and doomed for failure. Sometimes God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. And I know that seems like such bullshit when you're in the trenches. However, when you get out of the trenches, you feel that in your soul that like, I did that. I fucking did that. And nobody else can say that they did that. Nobody else can relate to my struggle on a spiritual level, on a soul level, on an emotional level. And that strength and that fortitude, resilience, and knowingness in yourself, trust in yourself, confidence in yourself, that's something that doesn't come overnight. That's something that doesn't come easy. That's something that doesn't come without struggle and hardship. And so if you're struggling right now and you're facing a lot of hardship, just know that that means you're destined to be someone really fucking cool, really amazing, really strong, really resilient, really confident. And the fact that you were dealt this really shitty hand doesn't say anything about you as a person, doesn't say anything about the life that, actually, never mind. I was going to say it doesn't say anything about the life that you were meant to live, but I think it says everything about the life that you were meant to live. If you were born into hardship and struggle and misfortune, that's a rags to riches story just waiting to happen, baby. You just have to believe in it. You just have to know it and work towards it. Center yourself in compassion, center yourself in gratitude, and you will be off to the races, because I guarantee you, people that had it way easier than you, people that were born into money and didn't have to struggle and didn't have to work, are going to look at you and be like, how are you like that? How do you have so much compassion? How do you have so much empathy? How are you so grateful through the day to day? And how do you possess so much gratitude and appreciation? And you had such a fucking horrible life, and you struggled so hard and worked so hard. How? How? And that's when everything's going to change. That's when everyone's going to look to you and see the value in you, the value that was there all along. And they're going to appreciate it. And they're going to want to know more about you. And they're going to want to know more about your story. And they're going to be so intrigued and captivated by just your essence, just your existence, because that feeling, that knowingness of that embodiment of compassion and gratitude is something that emanates through you, like energy wise. You don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to say anything. You just existing, you just being emanates that energy of like calmness, at peace, contentment, joy, gratitude. And that's something that you have to work for through the day to day. And if that's something that you can achieve when you're in the trenches, when you hate your life, when you're anxious and you're depressed, when that's something that you can embody in those really difficult times, when it gets easier, because honey, it will get easier. That muscle only gets stronger, because then you can look back on all the things that you overcame, all the things that you struggled with, and you can be like, oh my God, I was compassionate, I was grateful, I was empathetic then, and look at how far it took me, look at where I am now. Oh my God. And that success is something that you can only attribute to you. Yeah, sure, you might have had people help you along the way, but when you're coming from the trenches and you're the only person that determined what your values were and looked for them in the day to day and changed your thinking patterns and found a way to be compassionate and found a way to be grateful, there's only one person that gets to soak in and bask in all that pride and success and feelings of worthiness. It's you, baby. It's you. And that confidence, that je ne sais quoi, is something that people will continue to look towards you for answers and reasons as to why and how you got there and you achieved that state. And I think that is such a magical thing, because the how and the why is something that is free and available to everyone. It's just not something that is necessarily advertised, supported, talked about enough in our day-to-day, everyday life, because it's free. And it's something that the government and the pharmaceutical industry and the corporate industries can't commodify as much as they try to commodify it with external material things. They can't. It's something that comes from within. It's something that is internal that you have to work to achieve. And it's difficult, it's hard, it's a long haul, but at the same time, the benefits from it and the feelings that you feel, the knowingness, the high vibrations that you get from centering compassion and gratitude in your values in your life is just invaluable. It's not something that can be commodified. It's not something that anyone can take away from you. Once you have that confidence and that knowingness of like, I've been through hard shit. I've survived. I've found a way internally to find gratitude and hope and compassion and empathy through all those things. There's nothing, no challenge, no hurdle that you can be faced with. There's nothing that can happen in your life that is going to take that away from you. Because when you know you used that to overcome really difficult things, that only builds strength and resilience and fortitude that is going to make you stronger and more able and more equipped to overcome harder, more difficult things. And then it's just level up after level up after level up. And your life trajectory is going to be so far, so exponentially high. People are going to find it really hard to not love you and respect you and maybe want to be you. And, that's where the envy comes in. And I've talked about this in another video about how it's really hard to make friends once you level up. And again, that's one of the other challenges in this life that just comes at you when you're a really strong soldier and you're living this life for you and for the best possible outcome and for your highest potential and highest self. That's what the top 1% have to deal with. And I'm not talking about Elon Musk and Donald Trump because they're not the top 1% in my mind. The top 1% are the people that have a regulated nervous system and feel at peace and secure and confident and have so much self-love and self-respect for themselves that it overflows into everyone else's cups. People that are centered in compassion and gratitude and have endless amounts of empathy and kindness and love and, again, compassion for themselves and other people. Those people, those high vibrational glowing goddesses of people are the top 1% in my mind. And I think that top 1% is free to everyone to achieve. And I think this world would be such a better place if everyone worked and strived to be in that top 1% of loving themselves and caring for themselves and having self-compassion and gratitude for themselves and others in this existence and experience, because life is hard and it's really easy to get brainwashed into thinking that we have to place our value in something external to us. We have to achieve X, Y, and Z to feel worthy and feel capable and feel confident and have self-respect. Yet at the end of the day, it's all internal. It's all an internal feeling and knowingness. And that's all free to do. You're not counting time and energy, but arguably, I think in the long run, it's less of a time commitment and less of an energy commitment to do the hard work now, to figure out what your values are, get centered in them, have self-compassion, and find gratitude and be grateful. Because when you do those things earlier on in life, I think you struggle less in the long run. It's less energy and less work maybe in the long run, because I don't know, I look at people my age, my classmates from high school, my undergrad, and my current classmates. Not everyone seems super happy and super healthy, and everyone's really sick all the time. And, I could really go into the details, but to save my own self and character, I won't. But that's just the surface level of it. And you look at the grocery store, you look around in life, especially in the States. I hate to hate on the States, but I mean, y'all have an obesity problem. And that is just reflective and reminiscent of a bigger issue, a bigger problem that I think we can only address internally. Because when things change inside of you, things change around you. That's just a cold, hard fact. And so when you learn to love yourself and you learn to have that compassion and that gratitude, and you find value and appreciation in your day-to-day, everyday life, you're so powerful. You're so unstoppable. There's nothing anyone can do or say. There's nothing the government can do or say to take that away from you. And the more people try and fight you on it, the stronger it gets, the more powerful it gets. And the more your confidence and self-respect grows. And this knowingness that like, I'm so fucking cool and my life is so fucking cool. And I'm so strong and I'm so resilient and I'm just such an amazing person. And nobody can tell me otherwise, because the people that don't think that, the people that don't know the true me, because the true me is someone that I know, someone that I've worked really hard to build, and I've worked really hard to ensure my outside life reflects, because if you truly love yourself and you truly respect yourself, the bar you set for yourself is much, much higher than the bar most people set for themselves. And then it's just a matter of time in which your inner circle is purified and the foods that you eat are purified and the content you consume is purified. When you get so centered on having gratitude and having compassion and just being the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, which again starts with gratitude and starts with compassion, everything else around you changes and you stop tolerating weak ass people and hurtful people and people that project their hurt and their envy and their life problems onto you. You just stop tolerating it, because I want to have gratitude for everything in my life. And you being mean and you being hurtful to me is not something that aligns with my values. And so, because I love myself and because I have my values centered as my first priority, I'm just going to shift away from that. When you realize fast food, really processed sugary food, makes you feel bad, makes you feel full, makes you feel shameful and guilty and just like, bleh, not good, you shift away from that, because fueling your body is maybe, with whole foods and feeling good and not being sick. Maybe that's one of your values. And so eventually your values, when they're centered in your life, your actions and your behaviors will reflect those, and you will shift away from the things that don't align with those values. And the more that you do that, the more that compassion and that gratitude grows, because then it's easier to find and spot more things that align with your values in your life, because just intuitively you're shifting away from things that don't align with your values and towards things that do align with your values. And so of course it's going to be easier to spot those valuable things in your life and to feel gratitude for them. And so that's basically it. I would just like to emphasize that this is definitely a long haul. It's definitely a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And so keep that in mind, especially with how much self-compassion you're giving yourself, how hard you're being on yourself. Try and ride out the ebbs and the flows of this process, because it's definitely not going to be a straight uphill climb. There will be hurdles. You might regress a little. You might take a little break at one of the peaks on the mountain, but you're still climbing to the top. The fact that you're watching this video, the fact that you have this internal desire to be the best self that you can possibly be and overcome these hardships that you're experiencing, is one step ahead of the majority of the population. So you're already weaseling your way into that top 1% of the population. So just stick to the plan, stay persistent, stay committed, determined, and let that resilience, self-respect, and confidence grow over time, because no matter how many setbacks you have, no matter how many ebbs and flows you ride out, there's always going to be a day, a time, where you see it clearly for what it is, and you really love and appreciate everything that you are, everything that you've experienced, everything that you've come to know, every mishap and hurdle that you have been challenged with. And I know it's hard to see at the beginning of the journey, but just trust, have faith, whether it's in you or something greater beyond you. Have faith, trust in the process, and stay rooted in that gratitude, that compassion, and your value system, because those are things that are so invaluable and nobody, nowhere, no time can ever take away from you. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Kisses. Bye.